What's going on, everyone? It's a freaking pleasure.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's a great day. It's a
It's
great
a
day.
great day to be alive, man. I
Mm-hmm.
heard I heard a Home Goods classic today when I was playing at Meddy's.
Oh man, not the
Okay,
classic, man.
I'll give you three guesses. You don't have to sing them,
Mm.
but if you can guess it, it's one that you and I used to sing all the time
Hmm.
when we were at Home Goods. What's up, Darian? What's going on, man? Um,
Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Let's
what
see.
do you think?
Mm,
Come on,
you know,
bro.
it's funny. The Home Goods classics, I don't remember them until I listen to them, man.
All right.
To be completely honest, it makes me
Okay,
annoyed.
it was that I won't worry my life away. Yay.
Oh, I remember
Yeah.
that.
Because it goes that Myers, like you and I used to sing that whole part. Is a man dangerously so word.
Oh yeah.
Not Andy Grammer or something like that. I don't
I
know.
think so.
Yeah, I think it is. Um anyway, so I'm literally like peeing in the bathroom because when they kill the music it still plays in the bathroom. So I'm in the bathroom, and it's like I'm going pee, and I'm like, shine a light to all your friends. Oh, it's so weird. Uh, not to
Hopefully,
mention,
you didn't have
actually,
anybody in the stall next to you or anything
well,
like that.
God willing, I mean, you never know because I literally went um, pee and then I went out and I was grabbing my stuff. And I went outside on one of my breaks in between sets,
Hmm.
and this girl walked in the men's restroom,
What?
like full on in the men's restroom. She came out and some guy was walking in. He's like, "Whoa!" And she starts laughing. She was like, "She's like, I was wondering why there was a urinal in there." I was like, "What?
What?
What? This is weddings, ma'am. You might need to go somewhere else."
Yeah.
Um,
Be like,
yeah,
ma'am, maybe you need to, you just need to start picking up the waters
yeah,
a little
yeah,
much. You've
yeah.
had a little much.
I'm assuming that's probably what that was. Yeah, I don't know. That was mad unfortunate for her, man. um, yeah, so Denison and I are reunited, and it feels so good. Um,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so we're about to go live over here on this here platform. We're on live on Facebook and on our YouTube channel right now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, we're just gonna talk about life, really. No, I'm just kidding. We actually do have a plan. Um, do you remember? That's that Eddie Murphy video, bro. Well, he's what? Anyway, that's Michael Jackson.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. The it was really a Michael Jackson
it was a song.
video
It was Michael
with,
Jackson's.
so happened to feature Eddie Murphy. That's what happened there.
Well, but Eddie Murphy was King Tut or something. I don't know.
He was one of the kings, something like
Yeah.
that. And Michael
Do you
Jackson was able
remember?
to jump in as a sand person and like poof back in. It was actually pretty cool
That
visual
was
effects
actually
back in
one
the
of the
day,
better.
man.
Yeah, that was one of the better videos.
Yeah, man, it
Um,
was dope.
yeah. So yeah, we're actually gonna talk about. Um, you know what? Why don't I just go recording before I tell people what we're gonna talk about?
Yeah, man. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I don't
Doing it
have.
live, man. Just jump right on
Sheesh, I don't have an opener. I'm not gonna like
it.
dangle something in front of them. Okay. Three, two, one. So, do you remember um, your first touch screen? Right? Do you remember the
Mm.
first time you interacted with one?
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. It's let's see. It was actually my cousin's. It was when the first iPhone came out.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm sure there's a memory of me, hitting my first touchscreen way earlier than that, but I'll say I remember my cousin. It was like when the first iPhone came out. He was super eager to get a iPhone,
Yeah.
like right when it came out, and so he waited out and stuff like that and got it. And we just so happened to be visiting at the same time as like the new iPhone release, and so he had it, and he was like,
Okay.
"Man, this is so dope," blah blah
Yeah.
blah.
Yeah.
And so it was my first time interacting with an iPhone, and at that point, where I was in what seventh, eighth grade, I think, something like that,
Okay.
somewhere around there.
Sure. Sure. Yeah. So I mean, what was that experience like? Do you remember it?
Yeah, yeah, no, it was wild because I mean, I don't know, just it was wild that you could, whatever you saw on the screen, you could literally touch it. You could literally interact with it without like some other form or median or whatever like that. Because,
Yeah.
beforehand, I'd always known like if I wanted to interact with something, I need either a controller because it's on a game, or um, or it's uh, or I use it. Sorry, gosh darn, it's
That.
either in a video game or it's I need a remote or whatever like that. So.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's funny because I remember this too, and that's why I was thinking about this topic the other day. My mom had a Palm Pilot, which
Mm,
technically it's not a touch screen in the way that we understand a touch screen now. It had to have some sort of almost metal to screen contact.
mm-hmm.
um, but you would have a stylus, right? And that
Yep.
was a cool thing. I don't know if people remember that. What was that? There was that whole Samsung Galaxy that had the stylus in the back, and it was
Mm-hmm.
like now with a sleeker stylus, and it like slides out the phone. You're just like, I could draw so many things.
Yeah, man. There was the Note, the
Yeah,
Samsung Galaxy Note. I had one. It was awesome.
right. Which that wasn't even that long ago.
No, it wasn't.
No, but yeah, you're just like, wow, I could do so much artwork on my phone. Um, So, but uh, with the Palm Pilot, it was completely black and white. Um, I think you could play Snake on there, which was pretty cool. This is like 2006, 2007. Okay.
Mm.
So you
Mm-hmm.
would be able to type things out or write things out with your stylus on here, right? So you could actually
Mm-hmm.
sign documents on there that were emailed to you. Revolutionary. It was crazy. Um, and I remember wanting to use it, but I never used the stylus, and I just played Snake on there. When my mom was working, I would play Snake. Um, that and her little, I think it was a Nokia.
Mm.
I think it was a Nokia phone. Yeah. Anyway, um,
Interesting.
so yeah, that is my first memory with it. The reason I bring this up, and not to go down nostalgia lane necessarily, but like I think we can all agree, and this is actually something that you don't hear talked about, but I think about a lot. We're desensitized to technological advancements. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I,
Uh,
I, I can see that.
yeah, because okay, think about this. Here's my phone right here. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna do this. Unlocked. It scanned my face and recognized that was me that fast. I've
Yep.
had it do it to where it's like here to me almost, and it still scanned my face and gotten it. It's no, I don't. It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. Same with my phone, right? I literally just have to put my finger there and it'll unlock. Although I
Yeah.
can also unlock with my face.
Hmm.
So it's hard to do because I have my thumb on it. But
Right. Sure.
there we
Sure.
go. Look at that. Just opened up.
It's
It's
crazy.
crazy.
It is. It's crazy, and
Something you
I
can't
think
even think of dreaming of, or that you couldn't even dream of, like, say, really 5 years ago, even.
yeah. So exactly, and I think that's partly why we are desensitized to these technological advancements is because they're happening so fast.
Mm.
So, with this episode, I think that we should take a step back down memory lane and really contextualize how far the technological, the uh, what you want the semiconductor era has taken us, right?
Mm-hmm.
The semiconductor revolution, if you will.
Yeah.
Um, just everything that's been accomplished in the Silicon Age. So let's go ahead and get into it. I found out, fun fact, that Glass Age. So Jeremy in a band in Kansas, right?
Mm-hmm.
He named the band his original band Glass Age, the new original band. Okay,
Yeah.
um, which I've talked about before. I love their music. Um, and what I didn't know all this time is that we named our bands similarly, uh, or like we had similar reasons for naming our bands what we did. So
Mm.
I named my band No Signal because the idea is you disconnect from the world, from the technological world. Um, it's not really like a you could take it as you're lost, you're disenchanted by society, but
Mm-hmm.
it can mean that. But I mainly took it as you are intentionally escaping the noise of the world, right?
Yeah.
And Glass Age, he named it that because of the glass. We live in the glass age, right?
Mm. Yeah. That's cool. I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, we interact with each other through glass. And I did not know that until recently. I was like, that's weird. We had similar thought process. But yeah. So anyway, kind of cool.
Yeah.
Random
Really
trivia
cool,
for
man.
you guys in this late night live stream. Let's go ahead and slap right into it. All right, 3, 2, 1. What's going on, everybody? I'm John,
And I'm Dennison.
and this is the catch up. I was trying not because I literally like instinctually jumped at my beat your ass. Oh, you did. You went full on into it. You're like,
Mm-hmm.
"E."
I was like, hey,
What's going
I'm
on?
getting close.
Yeah.
Real close.
Back up on him. Now come up on him, man. Too far. There you go. All right, man. Let's go ahead and do this intro. Three. I need a shave. Hold up.
I do too, man. I do too.
Dude,
I'm
I
all
got some,
scruffy.
yeah, I got some scruff McGruff going, man.
Mm-hmm.
You cut this out.
Need to trim the beard. It's getting a little big.
We literally lost a viewer over this conversation. Oh well. Um, yeah, if you cut the neck beard out, it's fine. But then you got some neck beard going.
Mm-hmm.
You look like a this is my first beard starter kit right here.
I'm still growing starter kit.
I know, like a chia pet on my neck. Um, all right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Before we jump into the topic, I want to remind you guys the best ways to support us. There are three, and they are very simple. Wherever you are listening, wherever you are watching, please like, rate, and subscribe. Leaving us a rating and review uh, tells the algorithm people are reacting to it, and especially if it's favorably, it will help us continue to grow and get out in front of more potential viewers. Plus, of course, we would love to know how we're doing and what you think of each episode. Um, the other way is to jump on our live stream. Right now, we are live streaming on both Facebook and YouTube, and it allows people to get in on the conversation with us each and every week in real time, and have this discussion with us. And it shapes the audio version of the podcast again in real time. So get on over to the live stream. It's really easy. Just go to facebook.com/the ketchup cast or search our podcast on YouTube and hit us up over there, and we'll be live in both locations. And then the other best way, if you want to support us financially, go to our website. It's linked down below. It's nosignalrocks.com. There's a drop down menu for the Catch Up Podcast, but if you hit the link wherever you're listening, it will take you right to the podcast page. You'll find
Mm-hmm.
all of our audio, all of our video, and all of our merch and apparel in one place. And I might add, it's fairly priced and it looks really good.
Yep.
So, with all that out of the way, man, let's jump back into this topic. So, I am thinking about the 70s and the 80s. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so which we could go back even further than that, of course. But if we really, I say this all the time. If you think about a fax machine, right? In some ways, a fax machine is almost more amazing to me than email.
Mm.
Uh, and here's why: email, it's encoded. You know, you send it from one server, I guess you could say, to another, one user to another, and it's digital encoding and all that kind of stuff. But a fax machine scans a document, encodes it, and then sends it through telephone cable
Mm-hmm.
that comes out to the other end. All the travel, the other fax machine has to decrypt that and then print it out. I mean, that's amazing. And we've
Yeah.
had that for 40 years or so
Yep.
plus. Um, and these are the points I want to make on this episode is how we take these things for granted, yet we push forward at an alarming rate, right? So I don't know, where's some other things maybe from just the time we've been alive, um, that I don't know that grab your attention.
Uh, I would even say we have handheld consoles or handheld gaming consoles, right? Things that once used to, you could only, it was a relatively big box, right? That you would
Mhm.
have on your TV stand and you'd be able to, and you'd have to hook it up to your TV. But now you have, handheld consoles that are able to, uh, play all sorts of games. It has a
Yeah,
screen built into it. It has speakers. It has a whole microphone.
yeah,
And in some cases it has a whole touch screen. So it's not even just a regular old screen, it's a touch screen
on
that you
touch.
can use it. Exactly. And then like the Nintendo Switch, for instance, right?
Mm.
Is a amazing piece of craftsmanship because you have truly a all-in-one type of console that has your controllers, which used to be separate from all consoles. You had to plug it in. I remember, when I had my PlayStation 1, I had to plug that thing in. I had to plug my controller into my PlayStation 1. I had
Try
to
not
put the
to trip your
disc in.
parents,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
When they walk through the room, you don't want to lift up, and then they just eat it.
Exactly. It had a whole cord, everything.
Yeah,
With this Nintendo Switch, everything is all one contained, as well as if I want to take the controllers off, I can. And it's all wireless at that point.
yeah.
It's that to me is crazy, right?
No,
And
it is. It
uh,
is. No, that's a great example. The Nintendo Switch does not get enough love, I feel like, but it really is amazing. Like you have a whole stationary console that connects to your TV, outputs in high definition, 1080, not 4K, right?
mhm,
Not 4K, but 1080. Regardless, it still outputs it in that capacity, and then you have full gaming controls, but then you can connect those controllers to the Switch and then just lift up and the center part of it comes out. I mean that's and all of a sudden it's a portable device. It really
yeah,
is amazing,
yeah,
and it's
exactly.
seamless too. That's the crazy thing about it. It's seamless. It's literally like what the PSP tried to be in
Yeah,
2008 and stuff, the PlayStation Portable,
exactly.
you know, but it actually works.
Hey, PlayStation Portable worked. I just need a little bit more support. That's all.
Bro, I remember like middle school and early high school, they had like no phones, like because phones were blowing up. But then the PSP came out, and people like before that it was like Game Boy Advance was played out at that point.
Mm-hmm.
The all that stuff was played out. DS was it played out, and so then the PlayStation Portable came out, and then people just start bringing the PSPs out
Yeah, man.
in the middle of class, and they're like, "Wait, what? Well, you can't." They're like, "Tell me what? I can't do that."
Yeah.
Yeah, um, that's a great example, but that's even recent too.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I mean, I do feel like, um, to be honest, I feel like the idea, which granted now we stream music, right? So a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times we stream music now, and you're streaming a file from a server, and okay, it's cool, sure, that billions of people can do that at one time, amazing, but I will say that to me, the iPod, being able to,
Yep.
really the process of the iPod too, you put a CD, and I can do this on my laptop right now. It really is remarkable. And people used to do this with movies too. I don't know if you
Yeah.
remember that.
No, I remember that, man.
Yeah, but you would rent a movie from we never did this for sure.
No.
But you would rent a movie from Blockbuster or Family Video and then burn it onto your own DVD.
Mm-hmm.
But I actually definitely didn't do that with a album from the library one time, a CD from the library. But just that whole idea that a laptop or a computer can replicate what's on a disc, what's printed on a disc, which
Mm-hmm.
having just put out an album, by the way, which this is not a subtle plug, but literally it's a totally different process to upload the files that go on the CD than it is what you stream on Spotify and Apple Music. It's not the same. It's
Mm-hmm.
called DDP. Um, and I think it's digital disc processing. And there's like multiple encrypted files that have to come together on this um, disk for it to play. And the ability, excuse me, the ability for it to be read and then automatically saved as an MP3 or a WAV file. From that, it's amazing. It is
Yeah.
absolutely amazing. So then you take that file and you upload it to your iPod, which is no longer around now. But then your iPod has I mean, at the time, dude, for something, because they were big, the original ones were big,
Yeah. No, they were big, big,
and they go
big
for,
deal.
well, like what? They go for all kinds of money now.
Mm-hmm.
But the idea with the original ones wasn't necessarily for you to like go on runs with them or listen to them in the gym. It was either in your car, but probably not because there weren't a lot of USB connections back then.
Yeah.
But
No.
it was literally just to set in your home, you know, and you could set it on a playlist and never have to get up and change the disc. But man, those are cool. So
Yeah.
stuff like that to me is amazing. And this is a part of stuff that we just take for granted, right?
Mm-hmm. I mean, well, I mean, even like we can even go to, I mean, there's so many things that even go beyond just, goes beyond even that stuff, right? So you can even think of kind of like, well, one like what I'm using currently, which is a headphone. It's
Yeah.
a wireless headphone, and it's there's the fact that it's wireless, right?
Mhm.
Um, and it's all communicating through Bluetooth. But what's even crazier is that I have two individual wireless earbuds. Um, Both of them are, and they're super duper tiny
Mhm.
compared to headphones that are. I'm gonna pull some out for reference. um, Compared to big old headphones like these.
Right. Sure. Sure.
And sure, they may not produce the exact same sound quality, but the fact that they're able to produce a very pretty darn good sound quality in something so compact, right? Um, that you can not only put into your ears, but they also connect to each other and they sync up.
Yeah,
Um, and it has a wireless, and it also has a big old charging case too for them, which also charges them wirelessly.
sure.
Um, that's insane, you know?
No, it is, and um, I mean, Bluetooth is a great example, and there's no limits to what Bluetooth can do, even still.
Yep.
If you think about like at a band in Kansas show, I this is spoiler alert. I use a tablet with lyrics on it just in case. I don't hardly ever need them, but if
Mm-hmm.
I'm having kind of an off night, I have it there just in case. And so I use a Bluetooth pedal that will switch. So I have it on read mode on Microsoft Word, and if I tap the down button, it flips it to the right. So it goes like this. Um, and so it's basically a page turner. It's a
Mm-hmm.
Bluetooth page turner. I run a wireless guitar setup. And so what that used to entail is for you to have a whole wireless pack strapped to you that runs on RF, just like a lot of radio mic, or I'm sorry, wireless mics do. So
Mm-hmm.
radio frequency. And then you'd have to have a whole receiver, typically a rack unit. So it could either be this big or my, the camera's going to zoom in on me. Amazing too. But it could be as wide as your laptop, let's say. Um, and that's what it would take to have the wireless unit working. But now, and for certain situations, if you're like a big arena band, yeah, you probably still want that. But I can have something that is, you know, no bigger than my mouse. In fact, it's actually smaller than my mouse. I'm talking about my PC mouse. I don't have a pet mouse. Um, but it's about half the size even of my mouse, and it plugs into my guitar, and then the other
Mm-hmm.
end plugs into the front of my pedal board, and I can go everywhere with it. And there's no issues, which is remarkable when you consider that, again, I'm running another Bluetooth frequency right next to it. The
Mm-hmm.
bassist right next to me is also using a wireless receiver, and everybody in the crowd has Bluetooth turned on their phones.
Yep.
They do, so that way it automatically will connect to whatever device they want to automatically connect to.
Yep.
But yet it still works, and that is amazing. And not only that, those receivers have 4 different presets on them, so I could just switch A, B, C, D. So like the whole band could use them, and
Which
it
is
wouldn't be.
amazing.
It is amazing. Another one I thought about, and I think about this a lot, which I think this really kind of brings. I want to mention this, but I also wanted to focus on our next point too.
Mm.
Like what your Tesla is capable of doing,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, I don't think that we're at a point where the novelty is worn off,
Yep.
but I think that even just the fact that Teslas can auto drive at all without immediately careening off the road and into a ravine and dying, um, is amazing. And it doesn't have to be an interstate. It doesn't even have to be a state highway.
Yeah.
It can be anywhere, and they can come and pick you up. They can auto park. It is insane. I know there are sensors and all these things, but in our day, which we're not old, I'm just saying, like if we were young, it would have taken an external or sending and receiving communication from that car to a centralized location
Yep.
that would have had to have known where the car is at all times and basically would be guiding the car based off of a preset map, you know?
Yep. Exactly. Not
And
not a program that is consistently learning and growing and figuring it out.
yeah,
Yeah.
it would have been a preset map, and you would have had to do all the throttle and brake input. because there's no way it would have known what the traffic was like around you.
Yep.
But even then, if there was any traffic and let's say it would go to cruise automatically for you, it would be based off of a preset speed limit on that road that they had received by doing their own independent study, right?
Yep.
Um, and so, yeah, I mean, that it's amazing. Just the fact that, like you said, it's constantly learning, it can adapt to other traffic situations around it. And it's doing it all on its own. It's all individualized. There's no central hub or anything like that. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you're right. It's also amazing um, that I don't really carry a key, or I just carry my phone. My phone
Right.
is, and that even goes back to the testament of like Bluetooth, right? It
Yeah.
uses a encrypted Bluetooth signal to be able to talk to the car and say, "Hey, um, I'm here. Unlock and let's go."
Yeah. Totally.
Like that's crazy.
No, it is. It's insane. And yeah, man, I mean, so this brings me to my point, right? So, if you talk about the iPod to where we're at now, the iPod came out what 20 years ago, I think,
Yep.
which is a while.
Or I guess it really has been. Wow,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Don't get me wrong, it's a while. However, if you look at things as they have been, not for past year, but really since Spotify got big in 2013, right? 2014,
Mm-hmm.
the iPod's been phased out, and now we have Amazon Music, Apple Music, obviously Spotify, and they've grown. I mean, they're the biggest players in the game now. They've shaped the music industry yet again. But my point is, things change at such an alarming rate. Whereas, Tesla was the only game in town. Now everybody has an electric car.
Yep.
Ram was just talking about they're gonna reveal an electric Ram,
Yep. Yep.
right?
Yep. Yep.
So it's insane, and it makes it hard. I feel like you're kind of drinking through a fire hose if you're keeping up with technology today, right? So I don't know. Let me ask you this. I don't know. This is kind of an on the spot list. Let's not do a list. Let's do one thing each. One thing that you are excited about that we actively know is coming uh, with technology right now, and then one thing that you're concerned about or wary of, or maybe think that's a waste of time. You know?
Mm. Let's see. uh, Funny enough, I would say, and this kind of goes back to kind of what we first kind of talked about. I think the thing that I am probably the most um, really psyched for when it comes to technology is the next version of folding phones, right?
Right.
Um, because I think that's such a amazing and cool way to think about phones in general. It sounds weird, because we've just already talked about like how it's crazy, amazing, like how much technology is in our phones in general. But it's so weird to think that the form factor that we're in has kind of gotten a little dull, right? It's a slab, right? It's a glass slab that has a bunch of amazing parts in it. Not saying that it is doesn't, but it's even more amazing when you change that glass slab and you change the way that people interact with it to now make it to where it can fold, right?
Yeah.
It can now do it can be a bigger form factor and be a smaller form factor. And it was something that I learned about way back when. I remember, I think it was about maybe 10 years ago ago at this point, where someone was already talking about like how this would work and the technology being there and stuff like that. And now we have that at our disposal. And so
Yeah,
yeah, I think the next latest kind of fold form factor, or even just the next folding phone that comes out, is probably one of the most anticipated things for me, at least. One, because I kind of want to get into the next folding phone. I think
yeah,
that's something that I really want to strive for my next phone to be a folding phone, just because I don't know, it's just such a cool thing. And then two, um, I just think that I don't know if it's the way to go. I don't know if it's still technically a gimmick, but I do feel like it does open up the possibilities a little bit more than what we currently have.
mhm,
Um, and uh, and to what Christine is saying, laptops
yeah.
were folding
She's
all the way.
yeah,
uh,
yeah, yeah. So she's on the live stream. Yeah, she's.
mm-hmm,
Christina says laptops were folding all the way into a tablet for a minute, and all of a sudden I don't see them anymore.
mm-hmm.
Um,
Oh, they're
so
still there.
they're still there. When I was researching this laptop I'm on right now, which was just a few months ago that I got this laptop, uh, they were all over Lenovo's website for I forget what they call them, but yeah, they're all
The yoga books
yeah.
that
There you
they
go. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's actually kind of one of it probably is the main thing they would sell to a college student. Lenovo would, which is
Yep.
interesting. Not all brands would do that, but that's what it was like for Lenovo. Um, I think that it is because it's a weird in between. Not to get off on this tangent, but
No worries.
I think it's a weird market in between a laptop and a tablet that is just a tablet and it can do all of that. There aren't many needs for both at the same time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. You either want just a um yeah, I think you're right. I think it's just like if you want a laptop, that form factor just works far better just to be what it is and as it is.
yeah.
And
Well,
the same
perhaps
with the tablet, right?
yeah, and perhaps more clearly on my end, and I'm sure there are people that would disagree with this, but anytime that I've seen a tablet that turns into a laptop, yes, you end up with a thick back tablet. Exactly,
Mm-hmm.
three C's on that thing. Very tummy thick, yeah, back tablet. Now there are some. I think the yoga books do this where they detach from the keyboard entirely, right?
No, not yoga books. Those are the Surface, Microsoft
Oh, Microsoft
Surface.
does, yeah,
Yeah, the the Surface, not the laptops, but just the actual Surface Pros or whatever like that. Those do they detach from the keyboard detaches, and that way you can have truly a fully Windows based tablet.
yeah.
And then whenever you need a keyboard, you can just attach it on there. You're good to go.
Which, again, Christina is right because Microsoft Surface, that's what you see NFL teams use,
Mm-hmm.
So they're studying the plays and everything, and they just holding this big chunk of a tablet and everything. I'm like, bro, it'd probably be simpler on on a clipboard, to be honest. But, like they used to have their own camera or television screens that they would like put the tape in
Yep.
and rewind that back. Yeah, on the sideline. Like that was probably easier. Honestly. Um, man, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to share this on my page. Anyway, um, yeah, let me do that real fast. But
Yeah, man, you gotta share it.
I know I totally forgot. So yeah, man.
Gotta
No, go
to
ahead.
Yeah, well, I was just gonna say, so yeah, to get to like the thing that I'm a little bit more leery about, or I guess dreading, or whatever like that, or I should really say probably more cautionary. I'm a little bit more cautious of. Um, that would probably have to be. Uh, it would have to be. There's a couple of things that I had that come to mind, like robotics, or AI and stuff like that. But I'm not, to be honest, I'm not as scared of those technologies.
Sure.
Um, just it's because the more that I learn about it, the more that I find, I don't know, I guess there's the possibility of like the movie things happening seem to be a little
Sure.
bit less. Um,
I had a robot. Sorry, Christina said robot
no
dogs.
worries.
I had a robot dog, by the way, when I
Oh,
was a
you
kid.
had a robot dog?
Do you not remember that, bro? I had one of those little dogs. It looked like a robot dog, and the eyes would be like the weird little LED stuff.
Oh yeah, I
You
remember
like rub
those. They
its
were all
head
like
and it
all
would
silver,
bark.
right?
Yeah, yeah, they were all silver. Yeah, and you would like rub its head and it would bark, and it was
Yeah.
weird. Man. You could like shove this robotic bone in its mouth, and it would like
Mhm.
wag its tail and everything. Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
No worries, no.
Robot
Uh,
dogs.
I mean, they were weird. They were a weird concept. I mean, actually, it's funny. Not to get off on a tangent, but there is a Sony, like a really, really good Sony robot dog that they released like a couple years ago.
Oh yeah.
Um, that's pretty advanced. It's kind of creepy. Um, but to be honest, I think the technology that I fear a little bit more the most
Yeah.
is probably autonomous vehicles.
Really.
Which is weird because I am also such a big advocate for it.
Sure.
Um, but I guess my fear on it is more along the lines of uh, what that means for the economy, right? Because I see the long term effects of it, and I guess that's what really scares me more. It's what happens uh, after we have done full adoption. It sounds great when you don't have to worry about certain things, but there's so many other jobs that get lost because of that, right? A lot of transportation jobs just
Okay.
disappear.
Sure.
Uh,
That's funny because I'm more concerned about before it has full adoption for the safety of other people.
mhm.
But you make a good point too of not only are Uber and taxi driver jobs going to go away, but bus driver. I mean, in theory, you'd have to be able to afford one of these cars, but still,
Well,
in theory though, you'd have autonomous buses though. You
Well,
know,
yeah, no, well, and even going farther than that, like truly, why would you why would you own an autonomous vehicle other than because it's something that you literally can't drive, right? I mean, I
right?
guess you would have it just to have
If you're
access
trying to
to
flex
an
on your neighbors,
autonomous.
dude, that's why.
I mean, I guess
That'd be
so,
the
but
only reason. Because you're
yeah,
right. You're right. There wouldn't be a reason.
yeah, and so I guess that's the other thing, right? You lose that portion of the economy as well. It's just the effects of it are a weird thing that we're going to have to kind of figure out.
Yeah. I think that's a good one. I think it is of bigger concern. And honestly, there's so many hurdles we would have to go through before that we get there. And I kind of think that it's gonna be tough adoption,
Mm-hmm.
um, in my opinion. But which one is it, man? Is it Apple that's developing the car with no steering wheel in it at all? Or is it Google?
Well,
It's one of the
it
two.
was, it was once Google, but if I'm not mistaken, Google has since, for the most part, kind of ended their push or their project for an autonomous vehicle.
Well, it's
Um,
Waymo, right?
Yeah, and Apple is trying to do an autonomous vehicle, but I don't know if I've seen anything that has said that they won't have, a steering wheel in there. I know they're having hard time right now, even getting the car designed and created. um,
Yeah. Well, okay. So I remember Waymo, which is owned by Google, that is
mhm.
their autonomous driving brand. They have a robo taxi electric vehicle that has no steering wheel in it.
Yeah,
Yeah. So that was what I was thinking of. I see. I couldn't do that. I would have to have the ability. And then this just the other day, Apple car design goals: no steering wheel or brake pedals,
Mm.
no driver, no user steering, all Apple experience inside. Like I can't do that, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like the amount of times I had to shut off and turn back on this iPhone, I can't trust Apple to make a car that's gonna just get me from A to B. Apple steering wheel would be a purchase.
Yeah, it
Your
probably would
assistant
be.
steering wheel would be a purchasable accessory. That's probably true.
Mm-hmm.
Um, along with your AirPods and your, you know what? Actually, will probably be a purchasable accessory for the Apple
Mm.
Car is the charging cable.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
In all seriousness, it probably won't come with it. Yeah, I don't know, man. I agree with you. I know you're coming at it from another angle, but I couldn't do that personally. I just could not.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of benefits that come with autonomous vehicles, but I think we also need to not be so infatuated with the whole concept and not understand and see the other problems that could arise through it. So,
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Yeah, there's a lot of positivity to be had. Actually, so my positive one is renewable fuel. I talked about this on the podcast just a couple weeks
mm,
ago.
hmm
Um, I am so excited about it, and I think if it was the 70s, 80s, 90s, or early 2000s, man, uh, we would like that would be the focus of technology. That'd be what you hear about, right? But there's just again all these other things we're working towards, connecting our brains to computers, virtual reality, metaverse, uh, you know, driverless cars, autonomous cars, like all these crazy things
better
that were.
batteries,
What's that?
better batteries.
Yeah, better batteries, of course, but all these things are just stuff that you read in science fiction or watching science fiction movies. They're all coming to life around the same time, and it's crazy. But like for me, I would say renewable fuel, and I think renewable fuel has the potential carbon neutral fuel to have even a better impact on the environment than electric vehicles do. I explained this in that whole episode. You'll have to go a few episodes back if you don't know what I'm talking about.
Hmm
But I use actual data and research to explain how renewable and carbon neutral fuel would have a better impact on the environment than electric vehicles were, at least in their current form, right? With the current battery technology,
Yeah.
and the way that it's designed and the way that it is charged. But, for me, the added benefit is you still get, you know, you could have a V8 engine if you wanted it, right?
hmm
Um, so for car nerds, and it's comfortable. It's something we're used to. And what's amazing is they say that really, for most vehicles, it would take no to very minimal modification to be able to run this new fuel, which
Which
is
is
pretty
pretty
amazing.
awesome.
Yeah, it really is. So it's like, why aren't we doing this now? Um, so I don't want to continue to beat that horse. I mean, I did a whole podcast episode on it, but um, on the flip side of it, though, there are a few things, and to be honest, it's actually tough for me to trust or to decide which one concerns me the most. You mentioned the autonomous vehicles, and I agree, and that was one of the ones I was considering. But to be honest, man, it's actually for me, man. It's I know I'm gonna get kicked back on this. It's the metaverse, bro.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Interesting. Okay.
hmm it's the metaverse. Um,
What's
Man,
your fears there, man?
uh, I shouldn't have opened this can of worms. Um, well, so I think of when like the iPhone came out, right? I actually let me weave you a tale real quick.
Okay, weave
Um,
away.
so when I was well, okay, so Back to the Future Day was sometime in 2015, and that was the fictional date from the movie when they go to the future. Okay.
Yep.
Um, and on the second one, anyway, so that day, Jimmy Kimmel had Michael J. Fox and Christopher. Oh my gosh, why do I always do this? Anyway, the guy who played Doc,
Mm-hmm.
um, they came on the show in character from Back to the Future characters as if they had just come to the future on Jimmy Kimmel's stage, right?
Yeah.
And so Jimmy is telling them all about the future and all the things that they see and everything. And he pulls out his phone, and Doc is like, "Whoa, what's that?" And he's like, "Oh, it's a smartphone. Yeah, it literally has the power of like 60 Apollo 11s in this one thing." And Doc is like, "Whoa, we could cure so many diseases with that and literally transform the world." And Jimmy's like, "Yeah, but honestly, we all pretty much use it just to sit on the toilet and watch cat videos." And I'm like, but really, though, there's so
Mm-hmm.
much power in these phones, and very few of us actually use them anywhere near the capability.
Yeah.
You know, not that we all should have that burden upon us. I'm just saying, there's a lot of potential there that's not accessed. Social media, was supposed to be ways to connect with people that you don't live near, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but to be honest, what is social media now? Social media is basically everyone tries to become an influencer. Everyone tries to sell something on there.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I'm no different. I mean, I use it to market my music.
Mm-hmm.
um,
I mean, hey,
and
we use it to market our podcast.
yes, exactly. And then it's on the other side of that, it's trying to outdo the other person. If you're on TikTok, you're trying to make more funny or engaging content than your friend, right? If you're on Instagram, you're trying to get more likes than your friend. And same on Facebook, except Facebook now is mainly just people sharing their inner thoughts, and it starts arguments and stuff like that. My point is, we've taken these things that have a lot of potential for good. And if you think about it, there's a lot of potential for good with the metaverse.
Yeah.
Um, you could see a lot of people connecting in ways they couldn't before. You know, in a weird way, it could almost be like physical therapy for older people, and also give them the ability to move around a virtual room that they can no longer do in real life,
Yep.
um, and interact with loved ones and things like that. Um, there's all I don't know. There's probably stuff that could be beneficial from it that we don't even know about yet. But so far, we have squandered every type of this social technology, right? And basically, what I see that's going to happen with it is it's going to turn into Ready Player One. We're all just going to be gamers on the metaverse, or we're going to just—I don't even know. I don't know. I don't know. It's in its infancy so much.
Yeah.
I don't know, but to me, I don't see the social media culture that we're in getting any better on the metaverse. And in fact, I see it getting worse. And the more realistic this type of engagement becomes, this virtual engagement becomes, I'm fearful that it could cause even more damage to society, culture, mental health, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Well,
so, yeah.
so I do have a question for you then. So because I think you have really good points, but I guess my only thought process on this is that you're right. Social media was first created to be used in a way that so we could connect with others in a far more meaningful way, and still be able to keep up with people who are, miles and miles away.
Right.
Um, but as you said, we've squandered that ability. But I do feel that we have started to kind of learn from our mistakes a little
Mm,
bit. And we have started making strides and changes, or at least started to push ourselves to try to make strides and changes in our behavior, um, as well as just us as people, to try to make these corporations who manage these social media platforms to do better, and to make it a far better environment for ourselves. And
yeah.
so my thought process is that, couldn't we just take that knowledge that we've just learned from our past mistakes, right?
Mm,
And move that into the metaverse, especially because, at least in this infancy, right, we're still kind of using it to be a part of that, a leg, if you will, of social media, another leg of social media.
sure.
Um, so I would
Well,
think
go
that, like, we would be able to, hopefully, and that might just be me being more hopeful than anything, but to be able to use that in a way to make, this new frontier of social media, in some ways, better.
ahead. Yeah, of course, there's that potential, and I'd always prefer to look on the bright side of life. Um, I think if I were to be more specific, my actual concern is with um, Meta being the first major player in it.
Yeah.
Because we know we can't trust them.
Hmm.
That's the thing. There's plenty of evidence, and even evidence so far as, if I remember this right, I remember it was something, I think it was this, but when Mark Zuckerberg was testifying in front of Congress about these allegations that, of what was it, man, that they were actively manipulating people and politics and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
uh, they actually did that with this civil war that's going on in Africa, I believe it is. Um, but there was some sort of bot manipulation that was going on there while the testimony was going on. You
Hmm.
is and I sorry, I'm not doing the best at giving it details right now, but um, I don't know. That I think that's kind of my thing, and they did a great job marketing because they named it Meta. So people who don't understand that the metaverse isn't a product, it's an actual like thing.
Yeah.
Now every time they hear the word metaverse, they're going to think of Facebook. They're going to think of Meta. This is great brand. It's kind of like Kleenex,
Yeah.
or Coke for soda or whatever. But but yeah, and so I think more specifically, that's where my concern lies. And then on the opposite side of that too,
Like the
um,
centralized form of the metaverse, correct?
right. So yeah, if you were to use a specific product of the metaverse rather than, so
The
yeah, that's a great,
decentralized, uh, true metaverse.
because in theory, like what the metaverse would actually be is, you have an Oculus, or maybe you have some other brand that allows you to interface with the overall metaverse. It's like a sub internet almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like Internet Explorer, RIP, or Google Chrome, or whatever, those type of things. Um, yeah, I mean, yeah. So, I mean, that said, the potential is certainly there. But, we talked about this not too long ago, too. I am just very much of the mindset, like, I agree that the threat to space exploration is that we end up going inward, which is to say, we go into the virtual world. I don't there's literally so much Earth to explore and enjoy and love life. I'm just such a fan of life, man. I'm gonna sound like a mad hippie for a second, but I'm such a fan of life. I don't understand the need to enter a whole new life to that capacity. Escapism is fine.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's why we listen to music. It's why we watch movies, TV shows, video games, all that kind of stuff. But that is a very higher capacity, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I guess um I just hmm, I don't know. There's a certain point where I think both can exist in a fairly good way. I think um I don't know. It's kind of interesting because it makes me the my thoughts on it is that we've learned so much about, like you said, our own world, but
Yeah,
also we've learned so much about our own universe. And within that knowledge has come to just show how vast everything
yeah,
is when we
yeah,
go outside of our own planet. Not saying that it's not possible to go farther outside of, even our solar system, right?
sure,
Um, but the amount of effort and energy that it takes, I do feel as though what could be um, and this may be more of a utopian view, is that we can utilize the metaverse in all of the aspects and attributes that it has, similar
mm,
to how we use the internet, um, as a way to help us advance our technologies a little bit farther or faster than what we could do in the real world, since there's less constraints, or there can be less constraints.
sure. So let me ask you this: do you think
Mm-hmm.
that if the metaverse access to the metaverse grows, and people become addicted to it, becomes a new addiction, it's the new Netflix, right?
Yeah.
um, does technology do technological advancements, which was the foundation of this conversation, right? Do they slow down?
I don't think
I
so.
would, you don't think so? I would think yes, because you would have, it's kind of like how you were referencing earlier. Phone technology has slowed down because we have kind of everything we need in a phone, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so if you have all these things you can do on one platform, right? What would be? I don't know. I could, yeah. I'm not saying it would, but I don't know. It was an interesting thought. But yeah, what were you gonna say though?
No, no, I mean, I think that is a good thought. I mean, I don't think innovation will be stifled. I guess in the sense that I think innovation won't stop. I think
Sure.
innovation will just be shifted a little bit.
Yeah.
But again, I feel that if we can set up the metaverse in the correct manner, there's a possibility or even a way for us to be able to increase our innovation by getting rid of the limits that
Mm,
we are normally bound and constrained by.
sure.
Um, because it kind of, you have an opportunity to be in a place that helps you think a little bit easier, right? And then you can slowly replicate that into the real world or whatever like
Yeah.
that.
Definitely.
Um, but I do think that is a valid fear that innovation stops, or not not stops, but shifts so far towards everything that is the metaverse, right? Everything that is virtual, that we
Hmm.
stop progressing when it comes outward or whatever like that. But I just don't think that's going to be a thing, or at least my thought process is that we would have to accelerate so quickly within the using a using the metaverse essentially, um, that it would stop all sorts of other stuff.
Yeah.
and I just don't see that happening.
Oh
I don't
no.
see that complete and utter wide adoption that quickly. I just don't
Mm,
see that.
yeah. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Um, yeah. No, I think we had an interesting discussion on this, man.
Yeah.
This was a good topic and definitely a good thought experiment as well. But a good trip down memory lane. So
Yes.
I enjoyed it, and I appreciate the people jumping in on the comments. Always makes it more fun. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, let us know your thoughts. You know, let us know what technology that is commonplace today. Maybe it has been for a while. What amazes you, right? So let us know in
Mm-hmm.
the comments or email us at theketchupcast@gmail.com. That's theketchupcast@gmail.com. We got all kinds of ways for you to connect with us. Of course,
Mm-hmm.
leave us a rating and review. Let us know what you think of each episode. And follow and subscribe over on our Facebook page, over on our YouTube page. We live stream every Thursday night, facebook.com/theketchupcast, or just search our podcast style on YouTube. And then if you want to support us financially, go to the website nosignalrocks.com. There's a drop down menu for the Ketchup Podcast. So, anyway, man, this was a good one.
Yeah,
Uh,
it was.
yeah. And I think, you know, a lot to, there's going to be so much happen, but it's going to happen quick, you know, in the next 5 years.
Yeah.
Um, that we'll have to watch and keep an eye on, and we'll be talking about it on this very podcast. So, thank you guys for listening. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch up with you next week.